Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. It's Matthew Pejkovic here from Matt's Movie Reviews, and this is the first Matt's Movie Reviews live show. I thank everyone for joining me right now. I'm just going to check to make sure this video is live on all of my channels. So this is going to be, as I said, my first live show. So there's going to be a lot of kinks. There's going to be a lot of, let's see what we got here. Yeah, I see myself live here on YouTube. There's going to be a lot of feeling out process with this first live show, because the first time I've really done this. I think I might have done something similar to it a few years ago, but I'm going to make this a weekly thing for every Friday night at 8 p.m. So this is very much kind of like a bit of an experiment. So if you're here joining me right now, I very much appreciate your time. I'm just going to check on YouTube to make sure we're running live here as well. Well, it looks like we started streaming on YouTube as well, so that's really, really awesome. So for anyone out there who's watching, thank you so much for joining me right now. So we're going to go. Oh, let's go from there. So we're going to do this together. So bear with me as I go through my first live show here. Like I said, it's a feeling out process. First time I use this software called StreamYard as well. I'm live simultaneous both on my YouTube channel, and my Facebook channel as well. So here we go. I'm just going to give a cheers to everyone out there. I've got my little heat cup here with a black tea in there. I guess you could say I'm really going to bring the heat today. Bad joke, I know. It's a dad joke, but I'm allowed to do dad jokes because I'm a two-time dad. So, double certified right there. So let's start off first talking about what's new on the Matt's Movie Reviews website this week. So what we got today is I put up a review, I think it was last night or the night before, for a movie called Shut In. So Shut In is the first movie from the newly formed Daily Wire Entertainment. So the Daily Wire, if people out there who don't know, and let me just put this up here so you can all see what I'm talking about. All right, here we are, Shut In. So for you, those who don't know, Daily Wire is a political website, and they do podcasts as well. It's formed by Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring. Among their many people that they have doing podcasts and shows is Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles, Candace Owens. But they've actually got into now the entertainment realm, especially in regards to movies. They already released one movie under their banner, which was Run, Hide, Fight, which I saw last year. But Shut In is actually their first kind of original production. It's directed by DJ Caruso. It's written by Melanie Toast, and this was a script that was on the blacklist for quite some time. From what my research said, that this was a film that New Line were looking into doing. People like Jason Bateman and Nicole Kidman were circling the wagons on this, but it fell through over there. The producer Della Sonier, who seems to be working exclusively now with Daily Wire, he's got his past productions have stuff like Bone Tomahawk and Dragged Across Concrete, really kind of tough, gritty, really great kind of throwbacks to like old school filmmaking movies. He is behind the producer behind this movie, and so Shut In had its world premiere today via the Daily Wire website. So it was free actually on YouTube for today for people to watch. I was lucky enough to watch it a few days ago, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 stars. It's a survival thriller. Stars Rainey Qualley, who you can see right here. She's actually the daughter of Andy McDowell and the sister of Margot Qualley, who people might know from Once Upon a Time in America, and also from the TV series Made as well. She's really terrific in the role. And Vincent Gallo is in it as well. He plays kind of like the protagonist. So pretty much the plot pretty much is that the Rainey Qualley character, I think her name is Jessica. She's a former drug addict. She's cleaned herself up. She's got her 2 kids. She's about to move out of her grandmother's ramshackle rural home, and then her boyfriend Junkie, played by Jake Horowitz, shows up with his friend, played by Vincent Gallo, who is like a real kind of despicable character. He's a meth addict, he's a child molester, etc. And they trap her in her pantry. So she has to get out of the pantry and save her children before these two guys do something really bad. So it's kind of like a race against time thriller. It's a survival thriller. It's very much a character-driven movie, which I really enjoyed. And Rainey Qualley does a lot of great things in the movie. I think she's a future star. I really do. She's fantastic. She's, number one, she's beautiful to look at. Number two, she has great acting chops as well, and she really brings it all to the fore here in Shut-In. So it's a review that's proven to be very popular out there, since a lot of people had interest for Shut-In. So yeah, please do go to the website and read my review. I'm going to work on a video review for it soon as well. I got such a backlog of video reviews I got to go through. I really do. But that is something that I'm going to work on today. So let me just go out there right now. What else I've got on the list of stuff that's new to the website this week is the Matt's Movie Reviews podcast is going very strong. I recorded, I think, around 3 or 4 episodes this week. 2 have gone to air. The third one is going to go to air tonight after I finish with this. So the first that I had on Monday is a interview I had with the director of a film called Minamata, and the director's name is Andrew Levitas. And Minamata is the latest film starring Johnny Depp. And it's based on a true story of William Eugene Smith, who's a well-known photographer, especially for his work during World War II. In this time in his life where the movie set, I think it was like the early 1970s, he's really kind of like worn out, and he's an alcoholic, and he's lost his passion for his craft. But then he's invited over to Japan, this village called Minamata, which is like a coastal town. And unfortunately, what that place is really known for is Minamata disease, which is like a disease that really cripples the body system. It turns people into really kind of like contorted, kind of like paraplegic versions of themselves. It's a really devastating disease, and people have actually died from it as well. And the reason why they got this disease was this chemical plant, which I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. They've been dumping their chemicals into the water which this village lives off. So they're eating the fish, they're drinking the water, or etc. And they got like these really high advanced levels of mercury poisoning. So he went over there, he photographed the people who were afflicted with this disease, and also he was over there and he took a photo which was very kind of like infamous at the time. One of the great photos, there's some through the time of photography, there's some photos that really captured human suffering at like its worst, but it's like these images that really kind of spoke to us as human beings, to want to make sure that we do something about these people that are suffering. They're like being photos from World War II and the Vietnam War. And W. Eugene Smith had a photo as well, which the name of it escapes me at the moment, but it was like a really kind of infamous one. And it shows him taking that photo in a movie. It shows Eugene Smith kind of like finding a new purpose in life as he connects with these people who are suffering, really just good, undergoing a great suffering at the hands of this chemical company that really just destroyed their lives. Until this day, it has a devastating effect on them. Johnny Depp's terrific in the role, and I got a chance to talk to director Andrew Levitas about working with Johnny Depp and what was it about the story that I really enjoyed. So that's episode number 470. I really hope people do check out the podcast, the Matt's Movie Reviews podcast. It's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Podbean, which is where our host. I really hope people check it out. And another interview that I had going up this week was with the director of what I think you could call it a psychological horror, maybe more of a psychological thriller drama with certain horror supernatural elements in it. It's a movie called Here Before. And the director is named Stacey Gregg. She wrote the film as well. The film is set in Belfast, the suburbs of Belfast, and it stars the great Andrea Riseborough. In my opinion, Andrea Riseborough is one of the great actors of her generation. She goes from movie to movie, role to role, and she completely transforms herself. I know a lot of people talk about how Tilda Swinton does the same thing. I think Andrea Riseborough is just as talented and just as prolific, and I can't wait until she really starts getting her plaudits from some type of awards body somewhere about how great she is with her performances. And she's terrific in this film. Here Before, it's a mystery, it's a thriller, it's a drama. A bit of supernatural connotations there. I wouldn't necessarily call it a horror movie. I don't find it scary, although can be creepy at times. But the mystery in it is really good, and so is the drama, and so are the performances. And I got to talk to director Stacey Gregg, who I said as well also wrote the film. So I had a chance to talk to her about the movie, working with Andrea Riseborough, working under COVID conditions in the winter time during Belfast. And it's a terrific film, and I really do recommend people do check it out. And also, please do check out the podcast. As I said before, Matt's Movie Reviews podcast available on all services. You can find it. Please download, subscribe, and will mean the world to me if you could, because I put it up around 2 to 3 episodes per week. Great discussions with filmmakers from around the world. So I really hope you can check it out. Get back to my tea here. Cheers to you. Right there. Always wanted Al Pacino on Matt's Movie Reviews, and I think this is probably the closest I'll ever get to it. He's definitely on my bucket list. He's my favorite actor of all time, in case you're wondering. Okay, now I want to talk about how you guys can kind of help me out as well. I am on Patreon. So for people out there who don't know, like writing reviews, podcasting, etc., this is these days my main source of income. I write for other websites as well. I've actually going to start writing for a couple others, freelance wise as well, and hopefully have a position another one. But my website and my podcast, etc., and the affiliate ads and ads, etc., go a long way to helping keep things afloat for me. And Patreon's a way that I do that as well. So I do have my Patreon page. I'm just going to bring it up here. There we go, and I'll show it on the screen. So what I'm asking for from for anyone who's willing to subscribe to Patreon and help support my work is $4.50 a month. And from that, you get to choose the content that you want me to review on Patreon. So I'll just bring it up right here. So we got it right here. So I do something I really want to get into more of, especially for Patreon, is a movie review, kind of like reactions. I've done one already for The Exorcist Part 3, as you can see right there. And I'm hoping to start some more. I want to do at least one a week that I can show on Patreon. So what I'm thinking is I could do like an edited version for free for YouTube. I'd show the whole movie and my reaction to a whole film on the Patreon webpage. And also in regards to what you can get out of it, you can request a review. You can request a top 10 list. We can have exclusive Q&As, AMAs, exclusive posts. That's what I can offer for you. Anything that you want me to review, with the exception, of course, of anything like too hardcore, anything pornographic. Of course, that's not my style. That's what I can do for you. So hopefully you guys can check out my Patreon page if you really want to support the work that I do with Matt's Movie Reviews. That'll be really fantastic. Let me just try this one. There we go. That'll be fantastic because it goes a long way to helping me out. And this is what I do for a living. I've been doing it for over 15 years, and any way you guys can help me out is fantastic. And again, thank you so much for joining me here tonight on my first ever Matt's Movie Reviews live show. So let's go to the biggest movie news of the week, which is the 2022 Oscar nominations. Now, I used to care. To put it bluntly, I used to care about the Oscars, not so much in that I've ever viewed the Oscar as awarding what was the best film. They've dropped the ball on so many occasions in regards to that. I didn't have any type of illusions whatsoever that was what the whole kind of ceremony was about. But when I said I used to care, I used to find it fascinating, the kind of whole process and the way that producers and studios and artists and filmmakers will try to court, votes from members of the Academy, and they go out into the media and they go on about their process and how great they are, etc. I used to gobble that stuff up all the time. I used to love it, and then a few things kind of changed that for me. The three things that kind of changed it for me was that number one was the whole kind of Harvey Weinstein thing. A lot of people he's notorious now for his crimes, which he deservedly is rotting in jail for. But what people don't really realize as well is how much of a power player he was behind the scenes, especially when it came to Oscar time. The stuff that guy used to do to get his movies and his actors and filmmakers over was notorious. Really kind of vile, cruel stuff, but it was just, I guess, a part of the game, right? I mean, it's Hollywood, so people tend to do that kind of stuff. How else do you explain Shakespeare in Love defeating Saving Private Ryan at the 1998 Oscars and all the other stuff that comes with it? And of course, there's a reason why there was that compilation video that came out maybe a year or maybe a few months after the accusations against Harvey Weinstein out, of all of these celebrities thanking Harvey Weinstein from the stage as they have their Oscar or whatever award that they have, because he really did put in the work in a very kind of nefarious way to try to get his movies and his artists the awards at the end of the day. So that really put me off. The other thing that really put me off was the kind of like the whole hosting fiasco. I remember that one year where Kevin Hart was supposed to host the Oscars, and then a tweet from like 3 or 4 years ago or was it a part of his stand-up set came out and people got outraged about it. I mean, the guy's a goddamn comedian. I mean, what that's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to make you laugh, supposed to make you think, supposed to make you outraged. Comedians aren't supposed to be careful. They're not supposed to be censored. Sorry, they're supposed to be really kind of out there and talk, and they talk about this kind of stuff. That's what they're supposed to do. So when he got cancelled, so to speak, and then after that he was removed from hosting duties, and then he was tarnished for a little while there. Not many people came to his defense, and also when they decided not to have hosts because it was too problematic. I mean, that was a real problem for me. I didn't dig that whatsoever. And supposedly this year they're going to have a host again, but whether anyone's really going to care, I know, like, Lord knows that I don't care at all. I don't care anymore about the Oscars. That's one of the reasons. And another reason why I don't really care about the Oscars anymore is the whole new rules that they have, that which films will be in consideration, like a whole kind of checklist of things, like there has to be certain people of this ethnicity, have to be certain people of this sexuality, has to be this, that has to have that. I mean, isn't the whole point of having an award show to reward the best film? I mean, isn't that the whole point of this? And not only did they not do it before, but now they have a criteria of what should be rewarded based on some type of, social, political, let's just face it, bullshit that people have to follow now to get their films up there. So if I wanted to make a movie that was kind of like The Godfather, for example, or say based in the 1930s, and had to do with an Italian American family. If I wanted to get that film Oscars consideration, I have to follow all these rules, which means casting changes and maybe changes to a character's sexuality, etc. And from that, you'll receive consideration, which is just crap. It's censoring material is essentially what it is to hit a certain amount of woke platitudes, and I'm just not in it anymore. But having said that, we're going to talk about the nominations today because it's something really interesting kind of came up in regards to it. So I'm just going to bring them up here about the actual Academy. So, fair enough, all these kind of nominations. What can you do? It's out of our hands. The Academy people have their own, option, choices, have their own options. But this one here, Don't Look Up, receiving a Best Picture nomination. I got a real problem with this, but then again, I'm not really surprised. Don't Look Up has to be one of the, I wouldn't say one of the worst films I saw last year, but it was definitely not even close to being an average film. It was 2.5 hours of Adam McKay being self-righteous and telling everyone else that they suck, as in that we all deserve, to get what's coming to us because we didn't look into issues like climate change close enough. It wasn't a good film. The performances weren't that great. For some reason, Adam McKay keeps getting nominations for these movies. The Big Short was cool. Vice sucked. Don't Look Up wasn't any better, but he keeps getting nominations because his films represent what is the new kind of like social conscious movie that the Academy Awards now give their time to. Previously, it used to be like back, say, in the 1990s, that a film that had to do with, say, gay rights or civil rights, etc. That was the kind of the token film that will get the nominations for Academy Awards because it was deemed the important movie. Now the important movie is movies like this, like films that have to do with a certain social political agenda that's out there. And it doesn't matter if the film's good or not, because the film definitely isn't that good. Critics wise, like, look, you can say that it's just my opinion that it's not that good, but if you're looking at a general consensus out of the hundreds of movies that hundreds of critics have looked at this film and gather all their reviews like Rotten Tomatoes does, it barely scraped like 50% on there. I think the last time a movie had such a low Rotten Tomatoes score and got like a nomination for best film was what was that film? The one with Tom Hanks and Sandra Bullock, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. I think that was from like 10 years back or so. And again, that was deemed like an important movie because it had to deal with 9/11. It wasn't a good film, but it was deemed an important one, so that's why it got a nomination. And what really kind of pisses me off as well is that, several years back when the Academy Awards changed over the whole list of movies from 5 to 10, the whole point was to be able to give some type of respect or some type of acknowledgement to movies that weren't necessarily Oscar films, like a blockbuster film, which these days I guess would be the superhero movie. And that's just hasn't really been happening that much. So it's really interesting. I came across this article today that about Jimmy Kimmel. Let's see, it's here on Variety. What does it say here? Jimmy Kimmel calls out Oscars for Nominee and Don't Look Up over Spider-Man for Best Picture. So essentially what he says here is, how did Spider-Man not get one of the 10 nominations for Best Picture? Forget the fact the movie made $750 million. Yeah, forget that fact. It's not really about that. It was a great movie, and it was indeed a really good movie. It wasn't in the top 10 best movies of the year. There were 3 Spider-Man in it. You're telling me Don't Look Up was better than Spider-Man? It most certainly was not. And, I don't necessarily agree with Jimmy Kimmel about a lot of things, but that one I most definitely do. It wasn't that Don't Look Up isn't a great movie. And yet here we are, it's an Oscar-nominated movie. And why it's Oscar-nominated? Because it deals with an issue that the Academy are deemed worthy and important. And that's just crap. It really is. Which is why I really don't give a crap anymore about Oscar nominations, which is why I'm now going to move forward. I've still got to work on my top 2021, by the way. I'm so sorry that's running late. I got so many things going on now, just piling up. But anyway, let's continue on. Next up, I want to talk about 80s Tees. Now, 80s Tees are one of my affiliates. So pretty much I got a link on my all my socials, on my website, etc. So you go to 80s Tees and buy all sorts of different T-shirts, and it has to do with movies or cartoons or video games. So if you just click here on 80s movies, it's got all sorts of new shirts out. If you like Cobra Kai, here's a Cobra Kai shirts, Top Gun. I want to get this one here, Hawk Hauling. If anyone knows where this is from, please give me a shout out, because I know what it's from. I just want to see if you know. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, I definitely want to get this because I love Sylvester Stallone. I love this movie. If anyone doesn't know, Over the Top is the movie this is from. It's a great shirt there. So you can see, as you can see, it's got like great, T-shirts that has to do with all sorts of movies from the 80s, and not only movies, like cartoons, TV shows, games, etc. And so when you buy a shirt from them or any other type of merchandise from my affiliate link, I get a piece of that, and that helps me out. So 80s Tees is I thought, especially with the stuff that I review, I do have a bit of a spotlight on 80s movies on my website, which I really need to get back onto as well. And everyone loves the 80s because it was just a great time for pop culture and for filmmaking, etc. But yeah, if you could please check out in the show notes the link to 80s Tees. And for everyone listening right now, if you put in the code MMR, you actually get a discount, which is pretty cool. So if you can, do me a favor and check out 80s Tees, that will mean the whole world to me. So next up, I want to talk about a movie that's coming out soon. It's called Father Stew. So here we are. So Father Stew is a movie. I think it's coming out in April. Let's see, who's it? It stars Mark Wahlberg and Mel Gibson, Jackie Weaver, and a bunch of other people as well. And essentially what the movie is about is based on a true story about Father Stuart Long. I'm just going to read here what it's a boxer turned priest who inspires countless people during his journey from self-destruction to redemption. And so Mark Wahlberg plays the part of Father Stew. Mel Gibson, let's see what role he's playing here. Okay, so he plays the father of Mark Wahlberg, which is funny because they previously played Father and Son before. I think it was in Daddy's Home 2, which I haven't seen. But I like the idea of Mel Gibson and Mark Wahlberg doing the movie together. I especially like the idea of, myself I'm not only am I a filmmaker, but I'm a Catholic as well. So the idea of having a Catholic, actor actually putting his faith out there and doing, and especially someone as prolific as Mark Wahlberg, in doing something, with his faith and doing it through movie making, I think is pretty cool. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to do a reaction. I want to do a reaction to the Father Stew trailer. So I'm going to bring it up here. I'm going to go to the Matt's Movie Reviews YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go to the YouTube channel. I've got trailers there. My podcast episodes are there. Exclusive reviews on movies, etc. So let's have a look here. Let's go to my channel. All right, Father Stew. And I figured we could do a trailer reaction because I always wanted to do one. Never had the chance as yet. All right. By the way, just put out there, my internet today is not the best. So if it's a bit glitchy, I do apologize. What I can say is Optus is not a good provider, just between you and me. All right, let's see. I'm going to bring this up now. That's better. No. This. All right. Let's check this out. Father Stew. And in this reaction, I'm going to stop here and there so I don't get like a copyright hit. I'll stop and just do little comments here and there. That's how reactions usually work, right? All right, let's try it out there. I'm always open to suggestions of how you want me to react to things on this channel, on this this show. Here we go. Father Stew trailer reaction starting now.
You don't belong with those LA folks. They're a bunch of fascist hippies.
Well, let's start it again.
I figured it out. Yeah, 7 times a charm. I'm being actor. Oh, God. You don't belong with those LA folks. They're a bunch of fascist hippies. What brings you here? I figured no better place to be discovered than a supermarket. Hey, did I see you on television series? We do movies? You don't work in entertainment industry at all? No, man.
I kind of like when Mark Wahlberg kind of plays like desperate characters. That kind of thing he does, like with Boogie Nights, that kind of really like, hey, how you doing? What's going on around here? That really kind of naivety that he has. He's really good at doing that, and I think he should do that a little more. He did it really well in the Fighter as well. So yeah, so far I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Months worth of cleanups on aisle 4 if they offer DUI in town.
What can I get for you, miss? I got beef. You can see that. Hey,
hard time. I'm a Catholic.
Well, ain't that what confession's for?
I can't date someone who isn't baptized.
I thought you was gonna say Hispanic. Where's the war? I'll do it now. I know I'm not what you need.
I think that Warburg, remember how Matthew McConaughey used to be like criticized for taking his shirt off all the time in movies? Since a reconnaissance, he doesn't really do that much. I think Magic Mike was kind of like the last time he kind of, did that whole thing. I think Warburg is now becoming that guy. And look, who can blame him? The guy's like, what, in his 50s now? He's got a physique like he's in his 30s. So more power to him. Let's get another drink here. I got to apologize again about the shocking internet here. But let's continue on. Let's see what we got.
And now you deserve it. Life's gonna give you a gut full of reasons to be angry. You only need one to be grateful.
I think God saw something in you worth saving. It's up to you to decide what you got to offer. This is the place you told me you believed in me. I thought it made sense being back here to do this.
Your son is about to make a huge mistake.
Well, I'm going to be a priest.
For Halloween.
I think it's a really cool thing to see a movie where someone decides to go into the clergy and have it be in a positive light. You don't see that much anymore. So way back, like in the 30s, 40s, 50s, the golden age of Hollywood, you used to have films about, priests and nuns, etc. And unfortunately, a lot of it has to do with the faults of the church itself and the scandals and everything. Any time now that you have a priest or a nun or any type of clergy figure, it's being told in a story about, the scandals that have rocked the church, especially the sexual abuse scandals. So it's really cool to see a story like this where, a big time Hollywood, not only an actor, but a producer. He produced a lot of films as well. He's an enterprise upon himself. He's doing a story where he is playing a man, a flawed man, a broken man who finds redemption and decides to go into the priesthood. I find that really uplifting. Let's keep watching, see what we got.
I'll pray for you, Bill.
Don't you dare! You're violating my rights. There's a man going around taking names.
We've all been wrong, and we've all done some wrong, but he came to forgive us.
Everybody won't be treated all the same.
There's no easy way to deliver this news. You have a progressive muscle disorder. The muscles weaken until they cease to function.
Is there anything that doesn't mess with?
Yeah, erectile function.
I'm trying to be a priest, pal.
The wise men will bow down before the throne.
No, why?
And at his feet, they'll cast a golden crown.
Man don't lose when he gets knocked down, but when he won't get it.
So, it's interesting. I think this movie's coming out in April. It has kind of like what I mentioned before in regards to the whole what was an important story in the eyes of Academy. See, if this movie was made 20, 30 years ago, hell, 40 years ago, it would definitely be the kind of film that'll be up for Academy nominations based on the true story tag, who's in it. It checks a lot of boxes, redemption story, underdog story about man overcoming some type of physical ailment. And interestingly, like the movie's been released in April, which kind of makes sense actually, because considering it is very much a Catholic story and you got two very prominent Hollywood Catholics in Mel Gibson and Mark Wahlberg, April's the time of Easter, so it's going to be in Lent. So I think they're kind of going for that crowd. And good on them for doing it. I just want to check out comments so far. All right, let's continue going on. Have a look here.
Ah, baby.
There is concern amongst the diocese that your infirmity will render you unable to be a priest.
Listen to the words all written down.
What you guys get one phone call a week in here? Who you gonna call, huh? When no one else gives a shit what you got to say, God does.
The man who comes around.
He ain't giving up on you. Don't you dare go giving up on yourself.
Hear the trumpets, hear the pipers. 100 million angels sing.
Where are you going?
I gotta get your ass to church on time.
Who are you here to visit, sir?
Father Stu.
It's really cool as an Aussie to see Mel Gibson and Jackie Weaver in a movie together. Mel Gibson, of course, he's an honorary Australian. He was born in the States. He came to Australia when he was 12, and then he found success here with Gallipoli in the first two Mad Max films, and then went back to the States, etc. Jackie Weaver, of course, is one of our great exports as well, with a role in Animal Kingdom, leading to a big, a lot of roles over in Hollywood, both in TV and movies. It's really good to see them together on the screen, though. They're both part of that Australian New Age from the 70s. So to see them on screen together, playing a couple, albeit an estranged couples, it's pretty cool, I think. So that's another tick for me.
You and everybody else.
We shouldn't pray for an easy life, but the strength to endure a difficult one. Well, you can't say I never gave you nothing.
I skipped over thanking you. Went straight to the source.
Exclusively in movie theaters.
Yeah, looks pretty good. Here we go. Exclusive movie theaters, deceased. So they're definitely going for the faith-based crowd, and I'm really hoping that when it comes to around Easter time, both in the States and here in Australia, that we can all go to the movies again in a much more freeing atmosphere, less kind of like prohibited with everything going on with COVID, etc. So here, like in Australia, like where I am, Sydney, New South Wales, we can go to the movies and such, but still, I find that a lot of there's less screenings than usual. I think a lot of people are still publicists and studios, etc., distributors, I should say, are a little hesitant to showing movies, having a lot of critics in a one room. It could be. Anyway, Father Stu. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to watching this. I'm always open to watching movies about Christianity and especially Catholicism, considering my religious background. And it's really cool when both of my worlds can kind of tie in that way. So I'm looking forward to watching this. All right. So what's next? All right. I want to talk to you guys about another affiliate of mine named Loot Crate. So I'm just going to bring them up here. All right. Okay, so Loot Crate have these really cool kind of what they call like boxes, like just pretty much like it has cool merchandise stuff in there. Could be anything from t-shirts to caps to like coffee cups, etc. So you look down here, see shirts and comic books, etc. So they got different kind of like different Loot Crates themes that have got like ones for TV shows, sci-fi stuff, Harry Potter, Sonic. That Sonic one looks pretty good. I might need to get that for my kids. But I've always wanted to get stuff from here as well. It's got really good reviews. So if you like kind of like a various amount of merch, and you like kind of like your pop culture stuff, your shirts, your toys, your action figures, whatever it may be, Loot Crate is the place to go. And I really recommend people check them out and subscribe to some boxes. And like I said before, it's an affiliate, so any kind of money that you spend comes a little bit comes to me to help me out. So that's really cool if you guys can check that out. All right, so finally, let's talk about what's coming up for Matt's movie reviews. So I got a lot of reviews to do, so hopefully you're going to see a lot of reviews over the next few days and video reviews as well. I got some cool screenings coming up. One I can't talk about, but as soon as the embargo lifts on that, I'm going to be all over it. On another note, I'm going to be doing a lot of Batman content. So leading up to new Batman movie starring Robert Pattinson, I'm going to do a lot of kind of like go through the whole kind of Batman franchise and review every film. So I'm going to do video and written reviews for the website and for the YouTube channel. Also with The Godfather coming out in cinemas, I'm going to do a whole bunch of Godfather stuff. I've got a whole lot of Patreon stuff to do. I still got to do my 2021 best of. That's working on that as well. Whole lot of stuff. Heaps of podcasts episodes coming up as well, including one that should be coming up tonight. So a lot of things going up for Matt's movie reviews. I really do hope that you guys continue to check in, and we can and read and listen and check out my content. It really means a lot to me. Hope you guys can help out on Patreon, and there's affiliate links as well. So this was the first Matt's movie reviews live show. A lot to learn from, most definitely. But I think it went okay. Hopefully it went okay for you all as well. So until next time, cheers to you. Take care, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.